Australia. Our land is girt by sea, and that sea doubled as a protective moat as the COVID-19 pandemic was declared.
Brendan called me on a Saturday morning. I was walking around an oval where my son was playing cricket and said, I think the transmission's jumped out of Cuba. I think we're going to have to close the border to China.
What started with just China quickly came to include other international hotspots, and a month later, Australia was locked off to the world.
Tonight we will be resolving to move to a position where a travel ban will be placed on all non-residents, non-Australian citizens coming to Australia, and that will be in place from 9 p.m. tomorrow evening.
It was a crucial part of the government's strategy in preventing the virus from reaching Australia.
All of the different options are canvassed, but at the end of the day, it was a binary decision. Either we do this or we don't. And anything other than the border closure was perceived as a vastly inferior option.
They were brave decisions to make, at the time. And we now, when we reflect, we know that that was a really important moment in our success in suppressing the spread.
There's no doubt the decision to close Australia's international borders has been effective in keeping the virus out of the country, but it has had dire ramifications elsewhere.
The tourism sector's in a pretty tragic state, to be honest. We've lost over 506,000 full-time aggregate jobs in the last 12 months.
From Sydney Harbour to the Great Barrier Reef to the Red Centre, Australia is dotted with awe-inspiring destinations which are usually bustling with tourists, wallets filled with cash.
We went from a $5.5 million plus company down to 93% reduction in revenue up until, February this year. Like, what do you do with that?
Patrick Bedford heads up Emu Run, a tour company specialising in adventures across the top end through to Uluru. He's worried he'll struggle to maintain his workforce when JobKeeper ends in a fortnight's time.
A lot of the guys have gone after other sectors and other states with full-time jobs in, hospitality, and so that's another sectors. But it's kind of left us here with a void of skilled guys.
While the domestic market is picking up again, it's nowhere near enough.
There is no way that domestic tourism can replace the gap that's left by international travellers. International travellers spend between 3 and 5 times more on average than an Australian traveller.
Hope now rests on the success of the vaccine rollout.
Having seen that we're likely to have the full population vaccinated by the end of October, that raises the question about why can't we at that stage, if everything goes right and the continued good news continues, why can't we open up?
But even that may not be enough.
We'll take steps towards opening the border, but it won't be suddenly click your fingers and we'll all be back travelling overseas now.
Until then, Australia's drawbridge remains up. Patrick Murrell, Sky News.